Welcome back to the Law Unscripted, where we talk about everything about the law and the legal system that you never knew,
never understood,
and no one ever told you. I'm Virginia Tehrani.
And I'm Chelsey Rogers.
We're with Tehrani Law LLC because you never need a lawyer.
Till you do.
All right, everybody, we are going to go into story mode today.
Oh, yeah.
It is about the law and the legal system, and here's the part that we haven't talked about before.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about law school.
Yes, of course. The most important.
Well, it is, honestly, at least for a lawyer, right? It's law school is this crazy 3-year thing that a lot of people don't want to go to, right?
Honestly, don't do it.
And then there's those of us who did and who may or may not regret it.
Did not heed any of the warnings. I feel like I said I would never be that person because before I went to law school, that's what everyone tells you. Don't go. Don't go to law school. Anybody you ask, don't go. And I was like, I'm going to do what I want. I would never say that. And now if anybody asks me, I'm like, don't go.
I enjoyed law school. I'm very glad to be an attorney. But yeah, it's a mixed bag.
I think I would have liked it more if it didn't start out about what we're going to talk about today, which is being one of the class of COVID. I started law school via Zoom.
Yeah, and that is what we're going to talk about because this is real. This is real life. This is really what happened. So this episode, we're going to focus on Chelsey and law school of what has happened during COVID.
Yeah. Because
you did start with COVID. You were the class, like you just said, you were the class of COVID. You entered 2020.
Yep.
And now you're graduating. It's 2023. Class of 2023. She's graduating in less than a month.
I know. It doesn't. Okay. I was talking to another one of my classmates about this. I know how soon it is, but the excitement hasn't hit me. I still have so much to do that I'm like, great. I'm going to be done. But I have so much to do first. I'm sure it'll hit me eventually.
It will, and you're going to be good. It's almost over, but like any good law student, there's the bar exam afterwards, right?
Unfortunately. Abolish the bar.
So they have you finish law school, and you're like, whoo, it's done. But either that week, the week before, or the week after, all of the bar prep programs have you begin studying.
Let's talk about this.
For the bar.
I graduate May 20th, and I'm going with Quimby. I'm going to study with Quimby for the bar. And my study plan starts May 10th, which is technically the last day of finals. Like our finals period is not even over yet, which just makes me want to scream.
It's not a joke. And right, the bar exam, it's to study the entire summer so that you can take the bar exam on, I think it's July 25th and 6th.
It's that week.
Yeah. So what we're going to say is Chelsey is following the Quimby bar preparation program. We have purchased that for her. We're going to follow along with her. And you guys on the Legal Weekly Wine may have seen this, but for the Law Unscripted, we want to give you some updates. So follow us with the updates and then go back to the stories. The Law Unscripted is now officially a full company. It is officially a full LLC. So we have the Law Unscripted podcast that we've been doing, and we've got the Legal Weekly Wine podcast that we've been doing. They're now under the full umbrella of the Law Unscripted.
Yes.
And the other thing.
The very, very exciting part.
The very exciting part is we are doing some bar preparation.
Yes.
Through the Law
Misery
Unscripted.
loves company, so come join me.
We're going to follow Chelsey this summer. So we are not a replacement for any bar review preparation class. So whether you're doing Barbary, Kaplan, assuming you're a law student listening, but Barbary, Kaplan, Themis, I think is out there. There's Studicata out there. We're using Quimby. We're not a replacement for any of these programs.
Just a little sprinkle on top, a little supplement.
We're a supplement. So there's no other program out there that actually has a full experienced practicing attorney or law student.
Right. It's going to be a good time.
Doing bar preparation classes. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to take us through some of the more lecture series. Yeah. Chelsey and I are going to take this dynamic duo
to bar questions
and follow us along. Law Unscripted, thelawunscripted.com is our website. It is going up in May. So hold on to that. It's going up in May. And in the meantime, we have partnered with Quimby through the affiliate program, and we're able to offer a discount if you choose to use Quimby and follow along with Quimby, follow along with us this summer. We're going to drop that in the description, both of the podcast, the audio series, as well as the YouTube when you can watch us through the video. We're going to put that into the description. We're going to give you a link. Yeah. That link will be available at least by the end of April. Yeah. As soon as it's available, if you're watching this video before the link is dropped, come back, because as soon as we have it, we're going to be putting it into the descriptions.
Absolutely.
If you click that link, go through to Quimby, you can purchase the program for a discount. And then if you'd like to follow us along for the additional preparation, we have group packages, we have bundles, and we have a la carte.
We do. We have a lot of options, whatever sort of fits what your needs. I think it's going to be good.
It's going to be exciting. So those are the announcements. We have 4 more episodes for this. For our first season, we're going to finish out the first season on May 9th. That will be I think it's actually episode 21.
Is it really?
I think it is.
I like that.
Yeah. So it's a full episode 21 for the first season. Then we're going to take a break and we're going to go to bar prep for the summer.
Oh, yeah.
But this podcast will be back again in the fall of 2023.
Gearing up for, starting law school.
Starting law school.
Not for me, but maybe for you.
I think we're going to hit a lot more trial portions in the fall. So that's coming up. But in the meantime, we still have 4 more. And this is going to be the first of it where we are going to find out the realities of law school during COVID.
Let me just tell y'all, it was not great.
Okay, so tell us how did you even find out that it was going to be remote, and what did they tell you to do?
So truly, and I won't speak for everyone, but I think this was a common experience, is the most stressful part of this was sort of the logistic situation. Yeah. When I found out, I had already put in notice on the apartment I was living in, and they had already pre-rented it. So I was going to have to move out of my apartment either way.
And where were you living at the time?
I was living in Georgia at the time.
Had you planned originally to move up to D.C.?
Yes. So this is in sort of the spring. Like I was supposed to be in D.C. end of July 2020 to start August 2020. I think it was like April-ish that they let us know, hey, we're going to be completely virtual. And at that time, truly, the thing I was stressed out about was like, where am I going to live?
Because you were going to start at American.
Yes.
Up in D.C. So had you pre-rented an apartment up here?
I had been looking, and it was between 2. I had planned my visits to come look and decide between the 2. I hadn't signed anything because I hadn't seen it yet. But I still had. This is April, and I had till August. I felt like I had time. But I had put in notice on my apartment, and unfortunately, they had rented it. So I was like, great. So I will be moving out. And what I ended up doing was, for the first time since I was 17 years old, I moved out at 17, I lived with my mom again.
Oh my goodness.
Like for the first time, I was 24, 25. So like 8 years. Like I had not lived at home in 8 years. I had not, like I had been all out doing my, living my life how I wanted to live for 8 years. And I was like living with my mom again. So that was an adjustment.
And when did you move in with your mom?
I think that was the end of the July, beginning of August. So same time frame, just instead of moving up to DC to go to law school, I moved into my mom's house, which was super fun, still in Georgia.
I guess you didn't need to move to DC since it was all virtual.
No, 75% of our class stayed where they were.
Wow.
Which, when you think, what was the point? Nothing was open. You couldn't, there's no point.
You couldn't do anything on campus.
There was nothing. Nobody was on campus. It was closed down completely.
So no food courts, no campus life center, nothing.
No, nothing.
Could you communicate with even the career center or anything?
Via email and Zoom. There was no, the campus was closed down. There were no people on campus at all.
Wow.
And what made it even more interesting was at the same time, again, now, Georgia was a little bit more lax sort of in restrictions than DC was. But even still, my mom was working virtually. And both of my siblings who still live at home are in high school and were doing school via Zoom. So there were 4 of us at home all the time. I was in law school. My mom was working. And then both my siblings were trying to do high school virtually.
Were you in different rooms?
My mom and I were sharing a room, an office, so we were facing opposite way. But let me tell you, what's the most stressful thing in the world? A cold call. Worse than that, a cold call in front of your mom. You were getting cold called, and my mom is at her desk across the office.
And by cold call, for those
Yes.
people who don't know, tell us what that is. What does it mean?
So professors in law school like to teach by the Socratic method, and they just pick you, Miss Rogers. They don't call you by your first name. They say, Miss Rogers, can you tell us the facts of whatever case? Okay, and they'll ask, more questions and that kind of thing, and have that back and forth is sort of a learning process for the class. It's a very like a law school moment. Like I feel like you see it in, I'm trying to think of every legal movie I've seen. It's there, and it's nerve-wracking already. Then you have the technology aspect. You're trying to unmute yourself and not look dumb, truly. And then also my mom is right there, and I'm like, I am going to unplug my internet and just not do this.
Were all of your classes on Zoom?
Yes, for the entire first year.
So not even just the first semester?
No, my entire first year. So even though the second semester was going to be the same as the first, completely virtual, I did move up to DC over Christmas break.
Okay, why did you decide to do that?
I was naively hopeful that we would have that opportunity. I just thought it would be over quicker. And I was like, I don't want to be in Georgia if things open up. It didn't open up, didn't really change anything. So instead of being at home with like all of my friends, I was just in a tiny studio apartment in DC doing law school for like 6 hours a day.
So what did you do to meet people or to be with people?
Okay, so this is the great thing. I got very lucky because, again, it was hard. Like I said, everyone was sort of all over the country because most people still didn't move to DC. Luckily, there were a couple people in my section who had like found each other and then found me, and I got kind of adopted into this group. And they had met each other through attending other Zoom events. So like everything you think about doing your 1L year, like the clubs, the organizations, it's all Zoom. Like your academic advising, you are just looking at a computer.
What did you do? So I participated in like trial team
Yes.
and moot court. What did people do for that their first semester? Because those are, like you're saying, those are team events where
Yes.
you stand up in a fake courtroom or in front of a podium.
Oh, yeah.
What did you do for that?
So that kind of happened, I think, for us, our second semester, more like it was like informational meetings your first semester, but sort of like the 1L moot court competition I participated in, and I set up a Zoom. And so I had,
Oh my gosh.
I was like standing up in my apartment by myself, which makes you feel so goofy, right? Because you're like all dressed up, like full suit. I'm in this apartment
By yourself.
by myself, and they had give us instructions like try to make sure your monitor as like face level. And so you're looking at a Zoom room for moot court specifically. It has a panel of judges who are asking you questions. And they were like, make sure to look at the camera, not at them, because you want to simulate eye contact. It was a huge thing.
Wow.
Because if you're trying to like up your game, you're supposed to say like, thank you, judge, whatever, or whatever their name is, but you can't look at that because it makes it look like you're not looking at
the
them.
judge.
Hot mess.
So how did they teach you what to do for the programs?
There were sort of informational sessions.
By Zoom.
By Zoom. Everything was by Zoom.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
School by Zoom.
It was school by Zoom. And I think what was particularly hard, because in my experience, if you ask any attorney, anybody who's gone to law school, they're like, oh yeah, sort of that first year is where you like forge your friendships.
It is. That's where you find your groups, your friendships, the people that you want to go out with, you go get a drink with, like that's where you do find connections.
Yeah. And so I think that was really hard for a lot of people. I mean, I'll say it was incredibly difficult for me because one, law school is set up where you don't get a lot of feedback anyways. Not that I was trying to like, oh, what did you get on something? But like there just isn't a lot of feedback. Your entire grade is the final. But you can usually like see how other people are doing and like, get a vibe when you're in person.
Gauge it, yeah.
That's the perfect gauge it. That was just not available. That was not an option. So I truly think I would have failed Civ Pro, to be perfectly honest, because it was just, I was not getting it. And randomly got adopted into this group, and we still are great friends. We went to barristers together this year.
And that's Barrister's Ball,
yes,
again, for people
Law
who
prom.
don't know it. So Civ Pro is civil procedure. That's
Yes.
one of the main required
God.
classes.
I'm doing that thing where I'm talking like law speak. I hate it.
Now, we do have a lot of law student listeners, so that's great. But for those who aren't, this is what's happening in law school. And Barrister's Ball is prom for
Law prom, yeah.
law students, but you didn't have it that first year.
No, we did not.
Couldn't.
No, we did not. So, okay, this gets even wilder. So our entire first year, both semesters, completely virtual. All of the internships that summer were also completely virtual. Miserable.
The internships?
Yes, I was
like for working for like real people and firms and places.
Yes, I was working for the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children from my apartment. There was nobody in the office. There was not an option to come into the office. There were people working for other firms. Like everyone's internships were virtual that year.
Wow. But that's the year I think you came to me.
Because I couldn't be in my apartment anymore.
You were lonely.
I was losing my mind. I was looking, like I said, working for the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children, like the worst and worst of humanity, by myself in like a 400 square foot apartment. I was not doing great.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's a reality that people need to know is, and I mean, it was a countrywide problem. I think of being disconnected, of not having that support, not having those groups, the in-person interaction. But especially for law school, I think that does drive the extra loneliness and fear and anxiety of trying to figure out, well, what do I do?
Truly. And I think that was something too. It's been like our class tracking, obviously, even now that we're on campus, has like one of the lowest sort of like engagement on campus participation. Because how do you really get engaged with something? Like, I don't want to go to a club meeting on Zoom. Or like, you kind of miss that thing when you're like having to unmute yourself to like speak intentionally, that you like, you know, sort of the side jokes and then like the camaraderie, like you can't get it when you have to like, excuse me, I was going to make a joke. It's awkward, right? So then after the first year of the summer, they're like, great, we're coming back. The fall of my T-Well year, we're coming back. I was like,
and did you?
Kind of.
Oh,
we did.
So what's kind of mean?
So we did come back, but it was fully masked, and we were encouraged not to be on campus more than we had to be because they were still sanitizing and like trying. If there were a lot of people gathered, it made it hard for them to clean as often.
And this is 2021, fall of 2021.
And still, again, you're fully masked. They're trying to like social distance when they can in classrooms. So again, it's hard to like socialize with people in that environment. I feel like it was a little better. You like started to meet some people, but it was still not the best.
Yeah.
And then this is a plot twist. So you think you're in the clear, right? We're getting better. Nope. Spring of that year, we went back to being virtual.
For your second year, you went back to virtual.
Yes.
So 2022.
Spring of last year.
Was the whole semester virtual?
No, it was the first month and a half, and I was doing clinic.
And what's clinic for you?
Yes. So I did the Community Equity and Economic Development Clinic, which is a mouthful, but essentially it is transactional law for like nonprofits.
Wow.
Right. Like I told you, I've done a lot of random things.
That is kind of random.
Like I came to law school knowing I only wanted to be in court, didn't care about transactional law, but it was really interesting experience, you know, helping, you know, organizations decide like, do they want to be a 501c3 or C2? I know way more about taxes that I would never like to know again.
But that helps towards studying for the bar
It does.
because taxes are sometimes on the bar, which everyone dreads. And they're like, oh, please God, don't have taxes on the bar. But sometimes tax law is on the bar.
Yeah.
Business transactions, business associations, organization, agency, and partnership, that is all on the bar.
Yes.
So even though you don't intend to go into that practice, it still goes toward your subjects on the bar.
Absolutely. I think it gave good context too.
Good.
Like it just kind of fills in some gaps. But so that was a while. It was like a month and a half. They were like, we're just going to pause back on virtual, which I was like, I'm going to lose my mind. I was going to lose it because I was like, I need to be around people. Luckily, we did go back in person, but it was still the like, we don't want people congregating. We're still fully masking, that kind of thing. So truly, this fall was like the first normal like semester I've had.
Wow. So 2022 fall.
Yes.
So the first time you had what I would say is a normal, real school experience for law school was your third year.
Right. You want to hear something wild?
Yes.
I have never taken a law school exam, closed book in person, ever. Ever. I've never taken a law school exam in person, actually, ever.
That is wild. That is
So
really
like, by
wild.
their nature, because they've been virtual or take home, they've all kind of been open books. So I've never taken a closed book law school exam, and I've never taken a law school exam in person.
So the first time you're going to take a closed book exam is for the bar exam?
No, I actually, this semester, I took an upper evidence class. And so
Nice.
that
Okay.
will have an in-person exam that is, well, it is open book. So yeah, I guess closed book is the bar.
First closed book exam you're going to have is the bar examination.
Yes.
Okay, see, follow us on the Law Unscripted this summer if you're a law student.
Yeah.
We are, honestly, here's the funny part. I think we started the Law Unscripted for you.
Truly, I just have I've been planting seeds since 2 summers ago. I was like, I have an idea.
Because we have to help Chelsey pass the bar.
Yes.
And you guys are going to have a trip going, as you know, this lovely Chelsey.
It's gonna be a good time.
Quite entertaining. You never know what she's going to say and what's going to happen. So she's going to be TikToking.
Yes.
All summer with how she's feeling, what she's doing. And this is going to be entertaining.
I think that's the best way to put it because you know what? I'm trying to have fun with it. My law school experience was not very fun just by
Yeah.
nature of how the world was. So I'm like, I'm going to try to have fun with the bar exam, as much fun as we can have, right?
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
You said at the beginning that you would not recommend going to law school. And you're saying it has been a hard time.
Yeah.
And it truly seems to have been.
Yes.
Do you think that your opinion would be different if you had gone to law school as a normal law student, not with COVID?
I absolutely do. And now I jokingly say don't go to law school, partly because I think there are less expensive ways to like, if you're going to, like, I'm going to law school, I was very interested in like criminal defense work and sort of public interest. And I think for me, there are less expensive ways to help people. Like if you know, cost benefit analysis that, but I also do agree. If I had had a traditional experience, like I've always really loved school. I like to be in person around that. And I think by the time I was in normal school, I was a 3L and I was checked out.
Yeah, you were already done.
Yeah, I was like, okay, great. We're in person. Fantastic. But, you know, and we never had the opportunity to sort of have those in-person, like, organic meeting. It was, like, very awkward to meet people. So I think maybe I would be less jaded about it. And I'm sad that I didn't get a traditional law school experience, but it worked out for the best because if I had not been virtual, I would have not met Virginia. I would have been running around doing who knows what. But
it did work out. So
Yeah.
that was, like you said, you reached out to us. We put this one ad on
Yes.
our website and through LinkedIn saying we need an intern
Yeah.
for the summer. And this was when I worked at another firm.
Yeah.
And in one day, she responded and you came in person.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. I already had an internship for that summer that was full time. It was Monday through Friday, and I was truly losing my mind.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, Chelsey Elizabeth, that's exactly how she says it. Chelsey Elizabeth. Get it. And I never got on LinkedIn either. I still don't really get on LinkedIn. I should. Never updated it. But she was like, Chelsey Elizabeth, if you don't go on LinkedIn right now. And truly, it was the first thing I saw. Logged into LinkedIn, saw your post. I was like, that'll work.
And there she was.
And it worked. Perfect.
I mean, it was incredible because we're like, oh, who's going to take an unpaid internship? And with COVID, they're going to come into the office and who's going to see this thing?
Truly,
And
it worked out for the best.
So we took the ad down the day, like 2 days after we posted it because we got you. And then you stayed.
Yeah.
You stayed through your full second and third year.
Yeah.
Where you came in at least every Friday.
Yes.
And then you and I started working more closely together. Yeah. And then when I moved over to Tehrani Law, you moved with me.
Yeah. Look at that. That's what I'm saying. It all worked out.
It did.
It worked out wildly well. Now, that is crazy.
It
There's
did.
some,
I
like,
mean,
universe magic out there.
It really was. It was absolute universe magic. I now have a partner, through both companies.
Just, yeah.
Someone who wants to immediately come and work for me.
Yes.
I have truly offered her a full-time position with the bar. Now, if she doesn't pass the bar, you guys give some love to Chelsey. This is not the time for haters. This is love.
It's gonna be good.
We need love for Chelsey as she takes the bar. as we walk through with her. And hopefully it's just going to be when we find out it's going to be she passed the bar and then immediately comes to work as a full-time attorney. We've got everything set up, but if not, you're still going to work with me. We're still, I mean, we have so much we're already doing.
Truly.
With you not even an attorney yet.
Yes. Look, if there's one thing I'm good at, it's taking tests. And so
we're going to go with that.
I am going to speak it into existence. One and done. We're going to be like, wow, that was so easy. That's what I want to say when I'm going to actually probably cry, but I'm just,
okay.
It's so easy.
Yeah, we're going to get through that. So my final question for you, and this is not a trick question, I swear. And even though I have announced our whole plans as to what she will be doing after graduating and passing the bar, I'm going to ask you realistically.
Yes.
Okay. And you do not have to say, just coming to work with me. I swear.
Okay.
What do you want to do overall, immediate future, farther future, with your law degree and as an attorney? What experiences and work would you like to do?
Oh, that's a good question. So you do know I'm super interested in criminal defense. I would love to do a big defense. Like I think that's like on my bucket list. Like, you know, like not what's a big defense, but like not like a DUI, like maybe a murder defense. I feel like would be fun. Not that I want people to get murdered, but they do.
We're in the attorneys are in the practice of when something goes wrong,
right?
Whether it's criminal law, civil law, whatever it is, when something goes wrong, that's when attorneys get hired. So they're going to have to hire someone anyway.
Yes. I think that would be really interesting. Definitely want to get in court more because obviously I need to learn to control my mouth. I think this is a problem before I get in front of a judge.
We're going to go through practice rounds.
Yes. Truthfully, if my trial ad classes have taught me anything, it's that I'm a terrible witness, but
you're going to be a better attorney. It's good.
Yeah. So I think that like a big defense, I would love to like have a solid defense practice. Eventually I would like to not have to like do attorney work every day, I think is like the end goal. You know, I want to be an attorney and, you know, take cases that we want to take. I think we've talked about that before, but sort of do other things too, you know, whether that's get involved in, I like to run my mouth and talk to people, you know, go, you know, I can envision
podcasting full time.
But seriously, podcasting full time, going and like talking at schools and stuff. I did that a lot, like during undergrad. I think something like that would be super fun for us. I feel like that'd be, dream, right?
Yep.
But yeah, so I think just my big like law bucket list, maybe politics, maybe we'll get involved.
Maybe Chelsey will get involved in politics. We hit them a little bit. So if you haven't watched The Legal Weekly Wine, that's our Friday podcast where we talk about the hottest legal topics in the week. We don't talk politics per se.
But unfortunately, the law and politics are so deeply intertwined.
They're like this.
Truly. And I think that also before I started law school, I was like, law school made me not want to be in politics as much, surprisingly. Well, I mean, maybe that's a common experience because I think
it's really a 50-50. Law school, I think, pushes you one way or the other. That you absolutely want to go into politics or you don't. I don't think there's much little middle ground after law school.
Fair. Before law school, I was 100% like, I'm going into politics. And now I'm like, I would like to live on an island by myself. Humanity is doomed.
One of my law school graduate, I guess, same class, he's now an attorney general for a state.
Okay, see, that's really cool.
Some of my classmates went into politics, and that is where one of them ended up.
Yeah.
Goodness, it's so interesting where all my classmates went.
I was going to say, you have, like, your class is very varied, but, like, really cool stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of good things you can do in law school.
I think that's the thing, is at the end of the day, is, like, the JD does come in handy.
It does. It really does. So that is where we're going to end it today. Thank you for telling us about your law school experience.
I feel like I just talked so much.
But that's what we want, is we want to hear your experience, because everybody wonders, like, what is it really like? And this is what it was really like for you for COVID.
Yeah. Overall, I'll give it a thumbs up. I'll give law school a thumbs up, COVID a thumbs down, but it worked out for the best.
It has worked out really well. So that is Chelsey. If you like Chelsey, which everybody does, give us a like, give us the thumbs up, so that way other people can see the videos. It reaches other people. They can see what we're doing. They can listen along. They can find out more about all of the law and the legal system, including law school. Absolutely. So like, follow, subscribe, so it gets out to other people. Wait for us, as we said, for our upcoming website and our bar preparation. Follow Chelsey. We're going to be going through, TikTok, Instagram,
all of it.
Like everything.
Day by day, come join us.
Yeah, join us. Everything's in the description. The description with the links. Everything's going to be down there. Check us out and join us next time, where we're going to talk about, I guess, my law school experience.
Yes, I can't wait.
Yeah. Interesting time. Anyway, so I'm Virginia Tehrani.
And I'm Chelsey Rogers.
We're with Tehrani Law LLC, because you never need a lawyer
till you do.